copy of the Declaration of Independence sold yesterday for the price of a house. I'm a rare book collector. Let's talk about Christie's auction yesterday, their Americana auction. I want to talk about two things that they were selling, both Declaration of Independence related. So the first thing that they sold was a broadside from July 15th, mid-July somewhere. It's actually printed in New Hampshire. So the declaration was made on the 4th of July. John Dunlap printed the original broadside overnight on the 5th of July. So this is about 10 days removed from that initial declaration. Now that broadside, again, from July of 1776, that sold for a whopping $5.6 million. In declaration collecting, the broadsides tend to go for much more than book forms of the declaration do. So that's why that sold for so much money. The other thing they sold was a book form of the Declaration of Independence, and that book is called The Genuine Principles of the Ancient Saxon. Robert Bell was the printer. He actually had that book in the press already when we declared independence. And what he did, since he already had this book ready to go, and it actually is a book about liberty and republicanism, he simply appended a few leaves on the back end of that book and inserted new copies that he had printed of the Declaration of Independence. So we think that this book came out in July 8th of 1776, so about 4 days removed from the actual declaration. And we know, or at least as best as we can tell, that this is the first appearance in book form of the Declaration of Independence. So what did it sell for? Well, yesterday it sold for over $430,000. So that is a ton of money. But this also gives us an opportunity to talk about priority in the book trade. When I say priority, I essentially just mean like who got there first or what book got there first, right? Because I have here a 1777 printing of the Declaration of Independence. This is one of the first official printings in book form. That is, this was commissioned by the Continental Congress itself. It was not just a private printing like the one that sold at Christie's yesterday. But unfortunately, in this context, the private printing versus official printing doesn't really drive the price. What's driving the price is actually what got there first, like what came off the presses first. And at the end of the day, this particular printing of the Declaration of Independence, while it might have been one of the earliest official printings in book form, at least, of the Declaration of Independence, it is a later book printing if you consider all of the private printing that happens before this book got off the shelf, or got off the press, excuse me. So at the end of the day, this book is probably about the 24th or 25th earliest appearance of the Declaration of Independence in book form. And because of that, it is unfortunately not $430,000. At auction, I would say a book like this is probably going to sell for something like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on a good day. Retail, you could expect this early official printing of the Declaration of Independence from 1777 to go for somewhere around $17,000 to $20,000.